Hey, what's up, everyone? We've got an interesting post today from the Neville sub. It is called Give Up the False Perception. And so it's quoting at Tyler Altman on Twitter. And here is the quote. I spent years fooling myself into believing I could read people. What I was actually reading was the outward display. Highly patterned expressions of culture and trauma. Underneath that, people are beautifully unpredictable. We can tune into those layers underneath at any time. My penchant for predicting others came from a desire to be safe from them and superior to them. I now see how it alienated me and actually fixed people inside my predictions. I've experienced the reverse. When someone predicts a pattern for me, I find myself acting in that pattern. I've had to acknowledge that perception is not different than action. To perceive is to cast a spell, enchanting your environment and the people in it, inviting them to line up with your perceptions. Now, when I meet people, especially old friends, my practice is inspired by the Fool. To relax my need to know what they are, to marvel. To unknow is the practice of awe. The interesting thing about marveling instead of predictive perception is that it's not in conflict with keeping me safe. In fact, without all that predictive clutter in the way, one can better meet the nuanced ways in which someone is safe or unsafe. As you probably gathered, this all applies to perceiving and predicting oneself as well. An antidote to self-prediction: notice when your experience of yourself doesn't fit your normal expectations. It is solely our perceptions and expectations of others that make them so. We have trouble manifesting because we resist the change in another and oneself. We hold on to the old man, to the old story, and believe that in that former and dead version of themselves and oneself. We must give up all that tension and release all those mental identifications. Give up the negative fueled perception of someone. Allow them to be complete in your mind. Allow them to be unexpected, radiant, kind, and loving. Allow them to be the way you want them to be. Allow yourself to be the one you want to be. You are but an expansion of life, so do not set yourself nor anyone in stone, but have faith in the wonderful lifeward energy that we are made of to carve your desire on the screen of life. And yeah, this is just a beautifully written post. There's a lot in here that resonates for me personally. You know, this is something, and there's a quote about this that, something about expect good things from your fellow man and they will rise into the person that you want them to be, something like that. I wish I had the quote with me right here. But this part that is written here, where someone predicts a pattern of me, I find myself acting in that pattern. I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is kind of what maybe you could say hindered me earlier on in life, was certain people seeing me in certain ways and then me living up into that. And even in my adult life, if I go back to my hometown and I hang out with certain friends of mine, it is very, very clear to me that they have a certain perception of me. They want me to fit into this box that they've had for me. They want me to fit into this mold, which is their perception of how I used to be. And it throws them off when I'm outside of that mold. It throws them off. It makes them uncomfortable. So the whole thing is just kind of a very strange process. And I mentioned before that there's an exercise that a mentor gave to me one time that specifically when in social situations and feeling that energy that people are projecting onto you, just imagining the energy as cords of energy and just cutting the cords of energy, and how that was useful for me to use that. But there is, and if you guys have any questions about that exercise, I can actually do a video on that. Let me know down in the comments below. I did find that, like I said, very useful for me to use that in social settings. But this right here, I've had to acknowledge that perception is not different than action. That's powerful. It's in that sentence. It is understood that thoughts are real forces, okay? It is not different than action. Having a certain expectation of somebody is an action, okay? To perceive is to cast a spell, enchanting your environment and the people in it, inviting them to line up with your perceptions. And I discussed in my SP video with Devin about how I had a mentor of mine, a different mentor, who trained me in door-to-door sales. And he would tell me, and it was visible to me, that he saw potential in me. He said, "You're a phenomenal salesman. You are phenomenal at sales." And I lived up to that expectation. I became the number one rookie in my region. I was getting multiple sales a day, in some cases making over $1,000 a day. And this is back in 2015. So that was even, more money today. So this is very, very true, guys. And you'll see, like, it's rare in life, at least in my experience, for people to hold you to this higher expectation and then allow you to live up into that. And so I've really appreciated and really gotten so much out of the people in my life that have done that for me. Whereas, because most people, they just want to see you fail. It seems like they can't help themselves but to point out your every single flaw. We were talking about this the other day with tennis, the sport of tennis. It's like you play somebody. I used to play tennis, and I've been getting back into it. Me and Devin, we've been playing. And she's talking about how, like, different people, they'll be like, "Oh, well, that was just a lucky shot," and like, "Oh, like I'm not playing well today." It's like they can't acknowledge that you hit a good shot. They can't acknowledge your own skill. They just have to make it about them, being unlucky or you being lucky. And it's interesting how people, the vast majority of people revert to that rather than appreciating somebody's skill, somebody's talent, or giving somebody a compliment. And I noticed that can be so powerful in your day-to-day life, just complimenting somebody, just a genuine compliment, because people can tell whether it's genuine or not. And I found that that's been extremely, it's like a massive breath of fresh air and I know when people compliment me like that, genuinely, it feels like that. So I like to do the same thing for people. And it's a great little tool you can use, even in situations. And I was discussing this with Devin the other day too, is that with certain people, we were at the tire place this one time, and I was talking to the guy, and I was like, he hadn't really helped us yet. He had kind of just given us the bare minimum of what he was supposed to tell us about what was wrong with the tire. And then I kind of just went out of my way, or not going like it went so far out of my way, but I was just like, "Hey man, like, I really appreciate you like going the extra mile, like helping us out with this, because we didn't know what was going on. So like, I really appreciate your help." And I think I worded it, a little bit better than that, but essentially the concept being, because Devin noticed this, and I was telling her, like, yeah, like he hadn't done anything for us, but to invite him, and that's what I love about this post. I was inviting him to line up with my perception that he's this great, he's so good at his job. He's going out of his way to make sure that he's providing the best possible customer support that he can possibly give us. And, even so, going as far as to look up the different tires online to see if there's other people that are selling them that we can get a better deal. And like all of this was kind of implied with the way that I'm speaking to him. And it's like, if you show appreciation to that, to people that are working in these customer support type roles, you will notice that they will actually try to kind of live into that, because now it's attached to their own self-image, their own self-concept. And they're saying, yeah, I do want to view myself as this, really helpful person, this person that is able to affect change, at my work or wherever it be, but just in general, dealing with people. Everyone wants to feel empowered, right? And so if you can line that up for them, kind of, another example of this was, we were talking about her boss at her job, and talking to him about, sometimes he can get a little bit sensitive over text message, it seems, as well. And so she's been asking him for a raise, and apparently with whatever was going on at the job, the current position that she's in is capped out at the pay structure. The way that it works is that position's capped out. So he'd been talking about creating a new position for her so that he can get her that raise, get her getting paid more. And I was telling her that, as she's describing to him, the sensitivity over text or addressing that issue, just be like, sandwich that in between. Like, first started off with, "Hey, but like, I really appreciate like how straight up you are with me, with your communication, and really like you're really going out of your way. That I appreciate you really going out of your way to help me get this raise. I know you've really been working to make this new position set up for me so that I can do that, and I really appreciate that. Then sprinkling in but like over text message, sometimes it seems like you get a little bit whatever that issue was, right? Whatever the constructive criticism is, it's like sandwiched in between that, and then end it with another compliment, end it with another thing that you appreciate about the person. That way of speaking to people can be so much more effective. You will see like a night and day difference with people. They just respond to it because they say, oh wow, this person's seeing me for this. They're recognizing what I've been doing with this. Oh, they're saying that I can do this. Okay, and then they end it with a positive thing. It's way more acceptable to the person's mind, subconscious mind, whatever it might be. Now they can swallow that little bitter pill, if you will. It's almost like taking a shot. Like you take a pre-chase, then you take the shot, and then you might take a chase afterwards, just to make it go down a little bit easier, right? But that's another example of like him wanting to live up to that expectation now, because he's been saying this for a while. He's been saying that he wants to give her a raise. Has he done it yet? No. So when she frames it up like this and tells him, she really appreciates how much he's working in her interest to get her this raise and get her this new position made for her, he's now going to want to take action on that. It's something that he's been telling himself. He's going to want to have integrity with himself, saying that he's been saying that he wants to do this, and now he's going to want to do it. And now he has the extra impetus of being appreciated for how much he is able to get done at the workplace, and how he's able to make things around, that he can be a mover and shaker in his work and create this opportunity for her, and that she deserves it, because now he's going to also feel, well, this person came to me praising me. I want to do right by them because they recognize the good in me. So on a lot of different levels, this can really work very well. And I just wanted to throw those little examples in because this is very, very powerful. It's very, very true what this person's saying here. I've had to acknowledge that perception is not different than action. To perceive is to cast a spell, enchanting your environment and the people in it, inviting them to line up with your perceptions. Now when I meet people, especially old friends, my practice is inspired by the fool, to relax my need to know what they are, to marvel. And the interesting part I'm going to leave this off with is that it's not in conflict with keeping me safe. And it seems that a lot of the times people will, maybe this is subconsciously why they do this. I talked about the idea of being safe in previous videos, recent videos. And somehow or some way, it seems that we've attached safety to prediction. And it might be negative predictions that we're having, because that might line up with the overall narrative that's going on in our mind. That's why creating a new narrative by affirming throughout the day, robotic affirming, can be very powerful. As you probably gathered, predicting oneself as well. So give up the negative fuel perception of someone. Allow them to be complete in your mind. Allow them to be unexpected, radiant, kind, and loving. Allow them to be the way you want them to be. Allow yourself to be the one you want to be. You are but an expansion of life. Do not set yourself nor anyone in stone, but have faith in the wonderful life word energy that we are made of to carve your desire on the screen of life. And like I said before, so beautifully written. If we were to just take this and run with this, and the things that we've discussed here today, I feel as if anybody that's working towards whatever the results they want to get right now, whatever manifestation they're working towards, you're going to see a big difference, because a lot of the manifestations that we want, they're contingent upon other people, whether it's a boss giving you a raise, whether it is your SP coming around to liking you. Just allow them to be the way that you would like them to be. Allow things to be that way. Allow that positive expectation, that gentle positive expectation, without all the pressure, without all the stress, without all the negativity of, oh, well, this doesn't meet how I've seen them before. Just allow them to fit into that better mold that they can fit into. Expect the best from people around you. Expect the most wonderful things, and watch as things change to be like that. I think one thing that I used to have when I was a kid too, and when I was younger, like I said, you're constantly being influenced by the media, by negative perceptions of other people. by the adults in your environment that tell you that this is how things are, or the experiences of others, right? But if I would have just believed, I can be great at tennis, I can be great at this or great at that. It's like in tennis itself, I can just, this last story I'm going to leave you guys off with. There was this kid, the first kid that I played in tennis. It was on a day where my left arm was strained or sprained. I don't remember exactly what was going on with it, but I couldn't use it. So I couldn't use my backhand tennis shot, right? I could only hit forehands. So this kid that I played against, I will never forget this. His name is Mike Weber, and he's actually a cool guy. Like, shout out to you if you ever come across this video. And he actually was one of the few people that like said what's up to me in middle school when I first moved to that city, and complimented me on my Etnies sneakers, which are skater sneakers. And nobody else complimented me or made any effort to talk to them. I was just so shy and out of my element that I didn't react in the way that I would if I could redo that. But anyways, I was placed against him. He was like the tallest kid in my grade, one of the most athletic. He was on the varsity basketball team, just killing it. Super popular kid, super cool, really good at sports, like way taller than everybody else. And so my whole mental attitude going into that match, and then me not having my left arm, unable to use it, it was just defeated. It was like I had allowed him to defeat me in tennis before the match even began. So he beat me like 6-0, 6-0. And another part of that too is he kept hitting to my forehand too, because he realized I couldn't hit my backhand shot. He kept hitting to my backhand because he realized I couldn't hit that shot. And, I just kind of like allowed that. I was like, yeah, well, it makes sense to me. Like, but, that is, again, me allowing and inviting them to live up to him, in this case, inviting him to live up to my perception that, oh, well, I'm this, who am I? I'm just a kid playing tennis here. I'm nobody special. This was my perception at the time, right? Whereas I'm playing against like pretty much this all-star athlete at my school who's already like good, like just so athletic, so good at all these sports, way bigger than me, way taller than me. And like, there's no way I'm going to beat him. And especially with my arm. So that's just a funny example that I'll leave you guys off with. But anyways, guys, I don't want to ramble on too much. I feel like there's other examples I can give you guys, but I really like the way that this post was written. I don't want to muddy the waters too much. So I'm going to leave it off with that. And this thing, allow them to be the way you want them to be. Allow yourself to be the one you want to be. Anyways, guys, much love. Thank you for watching as usual. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Hit me with a like. Hit me with a subscribe if you have not done so already. And I will see you guys in the next video.